We had to run from the cops the first time we drank. Senior year of high school, towards the end, me, Beef, Griff, my buddies, and this kid, we'll call him Matt, we had truly never drank for the first 3 years of high school. And our soccer team ended up in winning state the same day that we finished our cross-country season. So there was this huge party that night at this kid's house. There was a couple hundred kids at this party. And we had never drank before, but we were meeting this kid, we'll call him Jawfish, there at the house, and he was going to have our alcohol. Like 7-5 had set up our whole alcohol purchasing ahead of time, and we just had to bring money and go to this party. So we all parked at McDonald's, told our parents we were all going over to 7-5's for the night, and then we went to the house party. It was one of those neighborhoods where when you pull up, you have like the two houses out front and then a long private drive back to a house that sits behind the two houses in front of it. So it had a ton of cover. There was woods on the back side of the property, and we walked up. Most of the party was in the backyard and basement, and then upstairs the parents were there. So we felt super like we're good, like no problems tonight. We start drinking, and for anyone who hasn't drank before, or for people who still remember the first time drinking alcohol, you don't really know what you're getting into. You're like, oh, this doesn't taste very good. Our buddies were helping us we were drinking is it Admiral Morgan or something like that? The Admiral, whatever rum it is, we're drinking. And all of a sudden, you start to feel like, oh, dang, buzzing pretty hard. Now, granted, it's my first time drinking, and I remember this whole event, so I obviously didn't drink that much. But for us, we're at a party. We're like, this is awesome, And we're having a great time. There was this one kid there. We'll call him Jake. Jake, the whole night, was trashed and just kept saying, we won state, because it was our soccer team's first time winning state. So the whole night, I'm talking like a 4 to 5 hour span of just this kid the whole time. We won state. And the more drunk he got, the more passionate he was about telling everybody that we won state. So we've been here for probably 2 or 3 hours at this point. My buddies are all trashed. At one point, I am like, oh, man, I gotta take a piss. So I go over to the side of the house, and while I'm peeing, I look over and I watch 7-5's little brother, who was like a sophomore in high school at the time, sell Griff a warm Natty Light for $5. And I'm like, dang, they're on that level. And I go back to peeing, and all of a sudden I look up, and you just hear, cops, 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 cops. And you see probably 100 plus people just run straight up this hill into the woods because they're running from the cops. And I'm like, oh shit. So like I pull my pants up, and I'm scrambling, and I'm looking for my buddies, like, gotta find my buddies before we run up this hill into the woods. Because it was like thick woods, but everyone was running that way because at the top of the hill and through this patch of woods was the rest of like another part of the neighborhood. Or it might have been a different neighborhood, but it was a quick escape. So I'm running towards the woods, and you just see this hillside, all these phone lights up in the hill as these cops are chasing people. And again, nobody was ready for that because the parents of this kid were at the house, so you didn't think there was going to be any problems. So we were all bolting. Our buddy Matt had drove us because he wasn't quite ready to drink yet. He had decided to be the designated driver, and we all respected that because, like, what kind of friend is going to force someone into drinking or doing drugs? You know what I'm saying? It's a shitty thing to do. You're not a real friend if you do that to somebody. So he was totally cool driving us from 7-5's house. We're all running, and again, I'm trying to find my buddy, scrambling. I find my buddy Monty, who's with 7-5, and this chick, and Beef, Jake, and a couple other kids are trailing up behind us. So we're running full speed, and I just kind of grabbed onto 7-5 because that's who I was going. That's whose house I was staying at. So we're running through the woods, and we keep looking back to see if the cops are following us. Well, at one point we cut across as we were coming into this backyard. 7-5 and I are both looking back at the people behind us. Boom! Get laid out by this fence, like on our asses. We're like on our backs, like, oh god. 7-5 rolls over, helps me. I was like, you're right. Like, oh man, busted the shit. I got the wind knocked out of us, Well, we have our band of like 6 to 7 friends, and we got to get back to the car. As we're walking up the top side of this neighborhood, we have to go back down through the woods to get to where Matt had parked his car. So we're going down this hill, and it's so steep. Like, I mean, straight down. And Jake is so drunk. He's still talking about how we won state. And when we hit the hill, there was people were losing their footing, and he literally slid down into this other backyard. Well, the backyard of the house that we had to cut through at the bottom of this hill had like a drop off. They had built like a retaining wall off the hill. So we just see Jake slip, and as he slides down the hill, he has both hands up, and he's just like, whee! And slides down the hill, hits the retaining wall, hops up, jumps over it. We all, kind of did the same thing, not quite as free as Jake did it, but we all kind of, staggered our way down and jumped over. And we're regathering at Matt's car. Well, as we're rounding everybody up, we're like, shit, we're missing Griff. Where's Griff, And someone was about to call him. And all of a sudden, he's walking down the street with his beer that he had bought. He's like, what the fuck is everyone doing? And then he cracks his beer open and chugs it. And everyone's like, we were running from the cops. Like, where the hell were you? And Griff said when the cops came running and when the cops came up the driveway and everyone started freaking out and running, Griff walked right between them, walked right past him, down the driveway, out into the neighborhood, walked back to Matt's car, and was waiting for us. Didn't know what was taking us so long. So we were dying at that story of the whole, that whole situation just cracked us up. Like I said, it was our first time drinking, so we had a wonderful time, but it was just hilarious. On the way back, we're all trashed, and Matt's trying to keep us under control of the car. Well, Griff and I were the rowdiest on our way back, and Matt, like I said, is trying to keep control of everybody in the car, and they're passing back those little, not Mentos, what are they called? Little icebreakers. They're passing back icebreakers. And we kept drinking on the way home, and Griff's like, don't take that. It's a drug. And I'm like, they're drugging us. Poof, I spit the icebreaker all the way up to the front of Matt's car. And Matt's like, what the fuck? And then Beef was like, come on, Tom, don't be like that, bitching at us. But it was really funny. And one of the funniest parts about that, again, the first time we ever drank, and we're trying to sneak into 7-5's house. Well, we go right in the front door. We're all feeling good, laughing and giggling like a bunch of idiots. And 7-5's mom comes out. What are you doing? And we're like, we're coming back from a party. And she's like, did you boys drink? We're like, yeah, we drank. Yeah, we did. And she's like, where's all your cars? And 7-5's like, oh, we parked them in the McDonald's parking lot. She's like, you dumbasses are all going to get towed. Well, the next day we went, our cars hadn't got towed, but it was really funny. And like I said, one of our first house parties where we all just got to cut loose and hang out and drink together. So that was like one of those really memorable experiences because, again, we're all still friends today. So I don't think they all look at it as a fond, impactful memory. But for me, it was really fun and kind of get a taste of the house party environment and actually drink and hang out before going to college. So, and honestly, I recommend if you haven't drank yet or you are waiting to drink until like a certain time, do it. Stick to your gut. Stick to your feelings on when you want to start to experiment with that type of stuff, because if you do it, you're peer pressured into it, you're not doing it on your terms, it's not going to be fun. I'm telling you. You just got to trust your instincts and guts on that type of stuff, because I had no problem not drinking before, and then once I did, I had a great time doing it because it was my choice on my terms, and it was with the people I wanted to do it with. So that's my recommendation on those type of things as you get older or whenever you're ready to try it. So, but that was a great story, a great time. We did win state that year. Shout out Jake, because that was one of the funniest things I've ever heard at a house party. And now you know the story. Talks to Tom.
Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe no more, see no more. I was riding around town thinking to myself, this